You and I are constantly bombarded by misinformation from politicians, celebrities, and media personalities who demonize guns and gun owners. Their accounts are contrary to my experience as a responsible gun owner, a retired police officer, and a professional competitive shooter. I have listened to their lies and I've taken their punches, but I refuse to stay silent any longer because I know a lot of women who have something to say and they won in the game. They're ready to play offense with the truth.
The truth is, we all want the same thing: to protect ourselves, our families, and to be safe in our communities. The DC Project is a nationwide grassroots organization made up of women from every demographic. We come from all different walks of life, but we are united in preserving our Second Amendment rights. As we share our experiences, we push back against gun control lies and oppose those who demand our rights be restricted.
As an immigrant from Venezuela, I saw how easy it was for freedom to die. My family and I watched tyranny destroy our home. In Venezuela, the media, celebrities, and politicians repeated the same anti-gun messages until people found it normal and acceptable to give up their freedoms. The reality is, none of it is normal or acceptable. Hungry and helpless, Venezuelans are now unable to protect themselves. Now, as a proud American, I am determined to guard against the same things happening here.
We constantly hear about common sense gun control, like universal background checks, banning assault weapons, ghost guns, high-capacity magazines, and gun show loopholes. Every city that is facing massive crime waves have put these policies into place. Common sense tells me that they don't work. So why do people still believe the idea that those policies save lives? Actual common sense is holding criminals accountable, not letting them out of jail or encouraging them to be more confrontational. Common sense is not stealing the right of the American people to protect themselves. This is the message that America needs to hear.
The DC Project works to reduce firearm accidents by campaigning for education in schools. We counter the false gun control lies by testifying in hearings and meeting our legislators. We equip our friends, our families, and our communities to know the truth. Gun owners are good people.
America is a beacon of freedom. The Second Amendment is vital piece in ensuring that our kids can have a free country to grow up in. We stand with the lawmakers who support the Constitution, and we provide armor from the attacks by the gun control lobby.
Join the DC Project today. Become a member, donate, or subscribe to our newsletter for updates on how we educate, advocate, and preserve our Second Amendment rights for generations to come.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Radio Bullseye. And the home for everything Second Amendment, concealed carry, the latest gear, reciprocity, legislation, the right to self-protection, and it shall not be infringed. This is Eye on the Target Radio with your hosts, Rob and Amanda.
Hey there, Rob. Good to be back in studio. What do you think? I mean, I've been everywhere, man.
You know, when you're doing a show on the road, it offers its own little intricacies as
Quirks?
to what doesn't work and what might work. And when you're sitting on a box or a can or who knows what,
it's a little ad hoc, we'll just say, but it's like the man on the street. You know, you got to do some man on the street interviewing and talking and
right.
It's
Just funny when you're sitting cramped up to a not even a table. You're sitting up to a chest of drawers or something, trying to.
I believe you were sitting on a footstool, shoved up against a desk, but you were
refrigerator. That's what I was saying.
Okay, there might have been the fridge. We were at the Gun Rights Policy Conference in Phoenix, and so catch as catch can. You beggars can't be choosers when it comes to. We have the time to set up the studio. Where are we going to set? What are we going to do? And they were like, you can use this room. They had a room for radio people, and that guy's going to be out at exactly the time that you need to be started. So can you set up in that split second and not impact him and get your guests and check everything to make sure it all works? And I'm like, we'll take the refrigerator and the footstool. Right? Because, you know, it just is. So it was a fabulous trip to the Gun Rights Policy Conference. So why don't you tell folks what your observations of it were?
Well, what was funny is we went to Arizona, and I've been there multiple times, but I never actually was outside. I mean, every time you go from a building to a car to a building again. So we actually spent a couple hours at a park one day, and it's so hot there. There's no bugs. There was no flies, no bees, no nothing.
It's already cooked them.
Actually, the only thing that was outside was me and Amanda. Everybody else was smart enough to go indoors.
Yeah, there was nobody at the park besides us. No, nobody. But you know, it was so it was really cool because we did a couple things. One is, if you guys want to see the Gun Rights Policy Conference, the videos for it are on the Second Amendment Foundation's website. And so Gun Rights Policy Conference is a day and a half of, I say 2 full days, but there were, you come in on Friday, and there's a lot of networking Friday night, you know, shaking hands, kissing babies, we haven't seen you in, 5 states in 6 months kind of thing. But then we start out hot and heavy first thing in the morning, and you get, it's not everybody's cup of tea. We'll just start there because it's lawyer after lawyer after lawyer talking about.
But if you're a news junkie, it's perfect.
Oh.
If you're not, it's somewhat dry.
Yeah, well, think about it. It's hours of lawyers, and man,
they're talking about brewing and things that are interesting, and not just yakking away for no reason.
Oh no, it's really good stuff, and you get to sit there and you're like, oh, I got to hear this guy. Oh, I got to hear this concept. I got to hear this topic. Whatever that is, and they were good things. But you can go to SAF, Second Amendment Foundation, SAF.org, and find the videos for each day. And so I think they're broken down. So it's my birthday month. Mike White from 2A. That happy birthday, Mike White. I'm glad it's your birthday month. So, if it's your birthday month, does that mean you get a gun a day or something? Right?
Seems like a Halloween baby or something. He just doesn't want to say it.
Maybe. But so the Second Amendment Foundation does this, and it's just phenomenal. So on the second day, on the Sunday, they bring in all of the advocacy groups. What are they doing? Where are they at? What
talking about the different things that they get to do. And you get to see the hardcore Second Amendment folks who stay for day two.
If you're watching any of this stuff like on Facebook or that where they post that they're at this state house or they're in this meeting or whatever, this kind of puts it together so you understand what they're doing and what all they have been doing instead of it being down to one or two snapshots on your Facebook.
Right.
They've been 2 years at getting to that one or two snapshots.
And you get to ask them questions, and you're like, what about this? And what are you thinking about that? And what's happening here? And, I'm thinking this. And they're like, yeah, I'm not thinking that. And I'm like, oh, okay.
And it's funny because, like, some of that stuff, New York has these new laws because they're trying to go around brew. And all the rest of them have the same thing. I mean, Connecticut and New Jersey and these guys they've all been trying to twist up the narrative to make sure that they keep the courts busy, apparently.
Yeah, and the counter brewing laws are pretty crazy.
The other thing they try to keep it in a small court so that it only has a footprint in a certain county or in one state instead of all of a sudden it covers a 5 or 8 state area.
Yeah. So it was good. It was absolutely good. And then we left there, and then we got to go hang with the Arizona Citizens Defense League, AZCDL. So Citizens Defense Leagues, there's a few of them in the state. There's Connecticut, there's Virginia, there's North Carolina, there's Arizona. I don't know if there's any more, but those groups are, kind of really grassroots. And so we got to spend some time with them as they try to do some stuff and interact with some of the stuff that's happening in Ohio. So it was a great trip and an opportunity. And then we went to Gun Sight. So just a nice, quiet 2-hour drive into the Arizona mountains.
Right. It's funny how you go from one area is completely flat up to where all of a sudden
it's completely flat again. It's just way higher. Completely flat. Right? I mean, and as an Ohio person, looking at the cactus and looking at just stop.
Sometimes big giant boulders that get pushed up out of the ground somewhere along the line.
I just feel so bad for the cowboys. I mean, I cannot even imagine being a cowboy in the cowboy era, and you drive across Arizona and you're thinking, this poor guy with a frying pan and
some of it is if you got there with a horse, you're a little more mobile than if you were bringing a wagon and all of a sudden you're running all those rock formations and that. It's like, how do you get a wagon through all that stuff?
Yeah, but if you're going on a horse, you are eating whatever you just shot. And we saw not a lot of anything. So I'm thinking that you would be one skinny cowboy, right?
Is there less animals there today than there was then, or is there more animals there today?
I don't know.
Because here in Ohio, it seems like we have an abundance of wildlife that the conservation groups have brought back over the years. I don't know what it was like. I wasn't around in 1880, but
right.
It's that a lot of it said that it was kind of played out by 1900, that there wasn't much left.
Yeah, I don't know, but you just sit there and you look at it and you're like, okay, how did you, here's a dude with a horse and a 6 gun and a frying pan and maybe a coffee pot.
The other thing that's funny is they always used to watch the old cowboy movie and the guy's like, he's in Phoenix and he's going to go to Tucson, and in a car that's a pretty good drive most of the day, and on a horse, that'd be most of a month.
I don't know. And I'm just thinking, I'm not sure he could carry enough coffee, let alone enough anything else. I just don't see. And since you're not having the supply wagon behind you, it may be that's why
there isn't a Walmart in sight.
No, that's why you have the mule. But I mean, when you really think about how tough those folks were, because it's right up there with you driving up to the edge of the Grand Canyon and you look at it and you go, do you turn right or do you turn left?
Well, you cook beans too. In the cowboy movies, they'll just pull up and make a campfire and they cook beans. Well,
They're dry.
they don't tell you that it's like a 10-hour boiling session to get them soft enough to do something with.
Right, and I don't know.
It's like eating BBs.
I'm not sure that either. I mean, I got questions.
Maybe they got good teeth, that's all.
I got questions. I got so many questions as to what it took to be a cowboy in Arizona.
If you had a time machine, that's where you'd go, huh? You and Mr. Peabody could have spent the day in Arizona.
Maybe as long as I'm sure that I got to come back at the end of the day, because there is no, I wanted to just jet out there and be there.
Day trip it to Arizona in 1887.
Right, and there's not a lot of female careers out there, so I'm just going to say that I don't think my dance hall girl skills are up to par. And so I just think that...
And your poker skills are about the same.
Oh, yeah. No, not all of that. So I'm in awe of the American cowboy and those people.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3 and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Are you interested in firearms? Are you looking for a resource to help you understand guns? Trying to help someone who's new to the world of shooting? Hi, I'm John Petrolino, 2A writer and the author of Decoding Firearms, an easy-to-read guide on general gun safety and use. Decoding Firearms is a comprehensive book with 266 pages of information. Want to learn more? Visit thepenpatriot.com or get yours today on Amazon in paperback or Kindle.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, we are back, and so from one of our listeners, it says the bill I hate the most is the poll tax of 11% over and above all the other taxes we have. Okay, I'm not a fan of most of the taxes that we have. In addition to the, the one I don't mind is the Pittman-Robertson.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things. Did you see where there's California just passed some laws to increase taxes on firearms? In 1937, sportsmen kind of self-imposed a tax called the Pittman-Robertson Act to collect excise tax on firearms and ammunition to use to replenish the American wasteland of wildlife and
well, and they've been successful.
Area.
But the interesting part is they've bought hunting areas. They do stuff for education with that money. But I know that in some states they buy areas and then they say you're not allowed to walk on it. And
that's just a
cheese.
Recently developed thing, I believe. I mean, in the old days it was 1901 when Roosevelt was the president. He had them set aside like the Yellowstone and all these because he thought that somebody would fence it in and either graze cattle on it or build houses there. And he wanted to save some of these pristine areas for the American public. He didn't set aside money for it. He just set aside, we're keeping this. So.
We're keeping this. Don't give it away.
So when Pittman-Robertson came, that helped them bring the elk populations back and the mule deer and different things. And it also allowed for people that wanted to camp and hike and water raft down the river and all this stuff. So
and utilize the outdoors in some way. I ran into it here in Ohio, and I admittedly have not dug deeper into it, but it would be an area that I think is worthwhile.
America's best kept secret. I mean, they split the money amongst all the states, and usually the Department of Natural Resources for that state gets the check, and then they can dish it out how they see fit. So if you're in one of these states and you look into this money, there's a possibility that you can get your hands on some of it to help with whatever you're doing. There's rules for it, and sometimes there's hoops to jump through and games to be played to make sure that you get it because they've been giving it to their friends for years and years.
Oh wait, did you say that? So I mean, I know that some states I've heard that they have a cap on it, so you can only apply for X number of dollars or X number percent of however much they've got, and so they can be sure to dole it out to a wide variety.
There's always next year too, so you just keep coming back for a
little bit at a time, just a little bit at a time. Yep.
But you think about it, every gun that's made, they pay this tax on. Every round of ammunition, they pay this tax on, and we pay it without complaint. And but it's not just the guns and ammunition that people that get the benefit of it.
It's all the hikers.
It's almost like, why don't they charge you for your hiking shoes and your bicycles too for some of this stuff? But
because the hunters and the outdoorsmen said, I'll do it, and the hikers didn't say I'll do it. And probably at the time, 1937, there probably wasn't a lot of recreational hikers because you were busy walking behind your I'm just saying, walking more
behind your mule, huh?
Right. More farmers
Last
and
thing I want to do is get off of this mule and start walking on my own.
on my own, right? Or you were walking a process line or an assembly line. I mean, there was not a lot of sitting on your keister kind of jobs. There
Right.
was a lot more up and at 'em kind of stuff.
So
right?
anyhow, let's hope that you learned something in that Pittman Robertson.
I think
A lot
it's
of states,
good.
A lot of people probably didn't even know it was out there.
So if you are a firearms, like an instructor, you're trying to do something, you have a 501c3 that you support that is in the outdoors, those are the groups that are really focused around Pittman Robertson money and the events and the things that you do to do continuing education. Their purpose is that they're going to use it to buy land. They're going to use it to make hunting available and hiking and spaces and all that. They're also going to use it to grow more hunters, grow more fishermen, grow
Well,
more
that's the thing, too. You have to
outdoorsmen.
pay attention in your area because, like you said, some of these they have kind of blocked the land. They buy the land and then they block it so that you can't hunt or fish or trap or anything on it. So you need to
Or walk on it. Yeah, they're like I know that somewhere between your house and my house they bought this land, and I was like, oh, that looks amazing. And then they're like, yeah, we don't have any agents that we can put on that land, so you're not allowed to walk on it because you might mess it up. How am I going to mess it up, right? So, and John Petrolino says, if not us, then who? I don't know who they're saving it for. You know, it's that thing like we're saving it for company. Well, right? Don't eat the cake.
But with not us, then who could be about
us defending it instead.
Or paying the 11% tax on it.
Well, there's that. I mean, there's a couple of levels. Like I said, I don't mind paying the tax. I really don't, and I think that the effort that they make is a good one. I just think I need to pay a little more attention to what is that money spent for, and is that really?
We need to pay attention to all that because these anti-gunners are in the all small government, so they do every little bit they can to try to
throttle us back.
Yep, to do their part to throttle us back.
Do their part to throttle us back. So yeah, there's.
Yeah, I don't have much of a footprint, but I can make my people miserable, so I must
do it. I'll do that. I will do it. Yeah, so I like that. Can't have us peasants hunting on the king's land, you know? Exactly. That's kind of how I feel about it. If I can't walk on it because I may mess up a tree or you know, or a bush, or I don't know. I think I'm not a big TV watcher, but I know that sometime in my formative years I saw a movie about going back in time, and there was a like brick walkway or something, and if you step off, don't step off, and somebody stepped off and they ruined history. That's all I can think about when I see this. It's like, oh, they've just changed the world because they smushed a bug, right? Yeah, so there is that. It's crazy. So when we come back, I think I'm going to have a guest that is going to be talking about the Rod of Iron Freedom Festival. We'll be back right after this.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Are you interested in firearms? Are you looking for a resource to help you understand guns? Trying to help someone who's new to the world of shooting? Hi, I'm John Petrolino, 2A writer and the author of Decoding Firearms, an easy-to-read guide on general gun safety and use. Decoding Firearms is a comprehensive book with 266 pages of information. Want to learn more? Visit thepenpatriot.com or get yours today on Amazon in paperback or Kindle.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Seppacool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Okay, so we are back, and at some point I may have a guest talking about the Rod of Iron Freedom Festival, but I don't believe I have them on the line yet. There's been a variety of emails going back and forth to get them all scheduled, and I thought I had it under control. But then that's what happens when you let me manage.
Maybe there's a time change differential in there.
Well, it's all about letting me manage the lineup for guests. But okay, we'll take it. So if nothing else, we will talk about the Rod of Iron Freedom Festival either when she calls in or before we end the show, one way or another. So let's move on to the latest news that has come out of DC, and that is the Senator Dianne Feinstein, who is not a friend of the Second Amendment. Absolutely not a friend of the Second Amendment. She passed away this week, and it has been, we'll just say that it's been an interesting week on X, formerly Twitter, listening to the conversations, and I just want to say, God rest her soul. We'll just leave it there, or the Southern bless her little heart, But there's so many things. I mean, she blazed trails, though they're not the trails that I would wish she blazed, but she blazed trails in her multiple years.
I have an article here that tells you what turned her on to being against the gun, and it actually catapulted her at the same time into politics.
Right. I mean, and most people do not know this story. So did you know about Harvey Milk and her friends?
I had seen that there was a movie about Milk, but I did not watch the movie. But so he's at least in the American lexicon. Mm-hmm. But as to
right,
since it wasn't anything about me, I didn't pay attention.
Well, the interesting part is that So Dianne Feinstein at that point was involved in San Francisco politics. So she was in, I don't know that she
It really doesn't say which office she had at the time.
But she became the mayor.
Right. It just says that the mayor and this
And the supervisor, so the city supervisor and the mayor were both killed. And they were killed by another supervisor, Dan White. And so Dianne Feinstein actually walked into the murder scene and was the first person who found Harvey Milk in the city offices deceased. And so she tried to render first aid, called for help, and that assassination, that murder, forever altered the course of Dianne Feinstein's life, her political career, where she was going. And the interesting thing was that she said, okay, so somebody says that she was on the council.
Well, this happened in 1978, and they said that by 1982 she had already tried to take the guns away from San Francisco.
And at this point, she had been somebody who had guns herself. So she had a 38 caliber Smith & Wesson revolver. She carried concealed. She used it to defend herself, and then realized that she didn't have any skills or any practice, and so decided that was going to be more of a threat than an asset. So instead of practicing, instead of gaining skills, she decided the best thing to do was, let's just ban them all, and headed down that direction.
If you remember, she said, if she had it in her power, she'd say, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in. So
right.
She was not at all a middle of the roader, as they would call
She was not. It was, this is sort of one of those things where you see...
Well, the 94 crime bill was her crowning achievement. Mm-hmm. She was so proud of that, and when in 2004 come along, they found out that it really had no impact on crime or anything.
And then it rolled off because no one was going to continue to vote for it. So that was a sad day in her history. And then think of it this way. Here is a gal who spent her entire career trying to ban guns, ban the Second Amendment, take firearms away from everyone, not allow people the ability to have a personal defense firearm. And think about the last things that she got to see. Bruin. The Supreme Court and Bruin. So here she is at 90 years old, and there is nothing she can do about the steamrolling freight train that Bruin is coming through the Second Amendment, and they're banning.
Bruin didn't say nanner, nanner, nanner. I mean,
it was close. It was absolutely close.
The thing is, and Bruin is going to continue to say nanner, nanner, nanner to a lot of these politicians that are pushing this. There was a line, I believe, in one of these. Look at that other one over there. It's in a bold headline. Here. Instead of addressing the root causes of gun violence, such as mental health and social and economic factors, they seem to focus singly on disarming Americans, even though your Second Amendment right gives you that right. So and we see that today. They don't want to go after the mental health. They don't want to go after criminals. They just want to take the law-abiding's gun away from them and hope that the non-law-abiding will follow suit.
There is that. So Senator Larry Craig, who is a Republican from Idaho, who is now currently on the NRA Board of Directors, he said the gentle lady from California needs to be a little more familiar with firearms. And so Feinstein locked eyes with Craig and recounted the morning when she rushed to Milk's office after hearing gunshots and finding his bloodied body. And she said, Senator, I know something about what firearms can do. But so there is that. I mean, you can sort of see both. And yeah, so Spartan 6 says that Feinstein claimed that she was an expert on guns because she'd seen thousands of pictures of them. And then he went on to say that may make him a gynecologist because pictures, We'll just move on from that. But I'm like reading along, and all of a sudden I get to gynecologist. I'm like, good luck. Well, how do I phrase this to be acceptable on the radio? But no, good. I really appreciate listener feedback. So if you want to do listener feedback, so we are on OpsLens, and so you can get to us from there, and you can actually see us in action, as if that's really exciting as sitting here at the studio. But no, I mean, there's a point where I sort of feel bad for Feinstein because she was actually she was out of the country, and she just got back into the country when the murderer tried to contact her for a couple days because he was in some kind of he was having some kind of a stressful, traumatic life something, and so he was a friend of hers. So she was a friend of both the two victims and the murderer. And so in finding out that the murderer had tried to contact her a couple times, but she was incommunicado, and then finding this it really planted a whole lot of if onlys. This if only, that if only. And I feel for those, but she's very wrong-headed and misguided in the direction that she spent her entire life on.
Right.
And then,
and had the timing been differently, maybe we wouldn't have had to go through 30 years of this stuff.
Maybe not. Yeah. So we'll just say that there are probably some liberal stations that are singing her accolades, and I'm going to say that I respect her as a senator, and I think that she was wrong-headed in the directions that she tried to take in limiting Americans and their ability to defend themselves.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that they give you these amendments to the Constitution, and the Constitution, either people can't read it, or they don't understand it, or they just think they know better and they're going to go around it. It should be painful to do that. If you're going to try to circumvent the writing in one of these, it should cost you some skin.
You get some skin in the game. You have to. Instead of just saying, I was elected, I can do whatever I want to do. Speaking of, sort of like the House member that currently this week pulled the fire alarm because he wanted to delay a vote. If I were in a school or a church or a library and I pulled the fire alarm and with a big old fat nanner, I believe I'd be in jail today, and you'd be doing the radio show solo.
And that's the thing is that if someone else did that in a school or a church or something, they would be calling for their head on a platter. So this guy needs to be dealt with harshly. And
right. So it will definitely be rules for thee, rules for me, and you see this. So those folks who do not, they are elected to represent us, but they swear an oath to uphold the Constitution. So you can have your opinion as to how things go within the box of the Constitution, but you can't just throw the box out.
If you look at it, they assure you that if you vote Republican, that you're against the democracy. And I thought that the two teams together were democracies.
There is that. So yeah, we'll have more probably next week talking about California Governor Newsom and who he's going to appoint and what our opinions are and how that's going to jockey through the political ping pong system, because it's going to be something. So it's going to be a lot of something. So we'll be back with Eye on the Target Radio right after this commercial.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Sefcool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Writing Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Writing Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Are you interested in firearms? Are you looking for a resource to help you understand guns? Trying to help someone who's new to the world of shooting? Hi, I'm John Petrolino, 2A writer and the author of Decoding Firearms, an easy-to-read guide on general gun safety and use. Decoding Firearms is a comprehensive book with 266 pages of information. Want to learn more? Visit thepenpatriot.com or get yours today on Amazon in paperback or Kindle.
So we are back, and there's so much different information. So I just want to tell those of you who are listening to this on the radio, as we do for our show, we are video also, and so we're on OpsLens, and we're on Facebook, and just a variety of places, and so different people are commenting in. So I was reading one of the comments a little earlier, and when I got to the word gynecologist, I got stuck. And shell-shocked. My video producer is like, I have to make a short video of that, because you're reading along, and then all of a sudden your face was like, kind of like, what did I just read? How am I pulling this out of the rabbit out of the hat? How am I getting this away from there?
Is this allowed on the radio?
Right, I'm not even, you kind of read a little ahead as you're reading it, and there's just a spot where it's like, Got it. So, okay, so talk to me about Maryland. What's going on with Maryland?
Well, Maryland is running the Bruin.
Roadblock.
So they've decided that they have some sensitive areas, and the judge apparently says no, that they're not as sensitive as they thought. So he's issued a preliminary injunction against the ban on firearms carrying in locations selling alcohol, private buildings, or property without the owner's consent and within 1,000 foot of public demonstrations. He says that historically there's a statute in the law that prevents intoxicated individuals from carrying a firearm, while SB 1 bans all people present at the location from selling alcohol from carrying. And that was why he said that.
And there's a spot where we know that nary a sip is, it's kind of the prohibition stuff, nary a sip shall touch my lips, that kind of a thing. And, but if you are not drinking and you are there, it's kind of crazy.
Ohio went through that originally in their law that you weren't allowed in an establishment that had a serving alcohol permit.
Right, so you could only...
Which made it really tricky for normal people because they didn't even know they had one of those.
Well, and you could only... so you could only carry your gun in restaurants that said, would you like fries with that? Right?
So then they changed it to as long as you were not drinking. And everyone originally thought it was the same... alcohol levels as you're drunk driving and stuff, and but it was it's zero tolerance. So if you had any alcohol, you were against the law at that point. So it's but yeah, these sensitive areas, they keep trying to push them out farther and farther.
Bigger and bigger. Well, I think New York tried to make like all of Manhattan a sensitive area because somebody lives there.
1,000 foot within of a public demonstration. Well, I mean, how big of is a public demonstration, and what do they?
What's the definition?
Really, the guy that's standing on the corner trying to get you to give him $1 is a public demonstration.
Well, there's two ladies standing at the town center holding issue 1 signs, talking about that. So is that? It looks like it's public and it's a demonstration and it's got signs, so it meets that criteria.
Right. There's a lot of gray area in some of this stuff, and they keep, like I say, pushing it out farther because the courts knock this down, and they'll say, well, then how about this? And how about
this is back to which organizations do you belong to? And so,
this would the FPC, the Firearms Policy Coalition, is the one that's fighting this in court. If you're not a member of those guys, you should look them up and throw some money at them because
they're doing stuff.
Good stuff.
They're doing stuff. So, I really urge you to be a member of the NRA, to be a member of the Second Amendment Foundation, to be a member of Gun Owners, GOA, Gun Owners of America. Be a member of the Firearms Policy Coalition because they are the organizations that are fighting hard for your rights.
Teresa says New Jersey, Maryland, and New York are all in a race for the bottoms.
There is that. And I know that there's this term for these anti-Bruin pushback, Bruin fight back laws. And they keep trying to pass them to keep everybody busy. So that Bruin's not winning. They just keep trying to pile it on so you're busy shoveling out.
They're going crazy over Bruin, but they've spent so long ignoring that. I mean, just trying to say that it really had no bearing on the general public, that after 200 years, they finally got a ruling, and they had to... It's a big step.
Yeah. Well, so Spartan 6 is interacting very well with us today. Thank you very much. And
he says, reading the whole thing first?
Yeah, I read it. So Tennessee and South Carolina have laws that you cannot drink alcohol if you're carrying. Ohio also has that law. Georgia has your limit to drink is the same as driving, which is that .08 limit. And let me tell you, everybody does not have any concept of where .8 is in their world. So that is always a recipe for disaster for me. I mean, you've got to do that. You've got to pull it out, do the calculation. How much do I weigh? Not what my driver's license says, but how much do I really weigh? right? And
maybe
then
you have to go onto one of those websites and buy your own little breathalyzer so you can carry it in your pocket.
I don't know. There's a calculation, but it's just there's a little bit of that,
Well,
but don't get in
I
trouble.
can tell you that being a supersized human, that that calculation is wrong because
It puts in your weight.
Well, but a lot of it is how much of a tolerance
Sissy?
you build up with.
Okay.
I can tell you that 1 or 2 beers and I'm a menace to myself, let alone a society.
Okay, I get it.
Other people, it doesn't faze them, but that actually starts making their thought patterns more of a
More cohesive.
Yeah.
No, I but there are some people who they kid themselves. I recently had an interaction with somebody. It was hysterically funny. I mean, and I somewhat. Yes. So some are highly trained professional drinkers, but somebody told me that they had multiple drinks and that they have a very high tolerance, and it's you'd be surprised at how much I've had to drink, and I'm like, no, I don't think I would. But they finished the conversation with, "I love you, Amanda," and I'm like, yeah, there would be.
Apparently not that high of a tolerance, eh?
That's exactly what I was thinking in the whole.
You just want to videotape a little bit of that so they can watch it later.
Right. Yeah, drunk people are not nearly as funny as they think they are. There is, I mean, there's a spot where they're funny a little bit, and then it's like, yeah, no. It's a very slim slice.
Right. So that's the thing is, being a designated driver is actually going above and beyond the call of duty.
Well, that's how I live. I mean, I'm the designated driver. I'm the designated carrier. I get it. There's a responsibility associated with firearms ownership and carrying it in public, and so it's the price that I and others are willing to pay to say that I'm not putting myself in jeopardy with having to have a conversation with the police officer, with that nice police officer, and it'll go just fine right there. I don't know.
I hate that when I have to have a confab right next to the road with
the police officer. Yeah, generally I am explaining my drunk friends and how I am the designated driver. I do have a story one time where I was the designated driver and they needed me to pull over, so I did, and then they promptly stepped out and fell over the guardrail right about the time the police stopped. And so I'm like, my drunk friend is down in the bottom of this ditch, and they're like, have a good day, ma'am. Right?
They weren't even going to help you get him up.
Oh, no. Yep, that was it. So it was a interesting. I've got a long history of being the responsible adult in the room. We'll just say. So, folks, we will be back right after this commercial break with hour 2 of Eye on the Target Radio, and hopefully we'll track down our guest.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3 and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Your SRN program begins in 60 seconds.
You hit the radio bullseye. And the home for everything Second Amendment, concealed carry, the latest gear, reciprocity, legislation, the right to self-protection, and it shall not be infringed. This is Eye on the Target Radio with your hosts, Rob and Amanda.
Okay, so we are back for hour 2 of this exciting radio show on the Target Radio. So, I mean, it's really funny because when I take you in public, people are like, you know, when he starts to talk, he's really funny. And when you're not around, he does a really good job with the show. But when you're around, he just sits there. So, what can I say to that? I'm like, yeah, I know he's funny.
But some of it, what I say when you're not here is not, you won't let me say. So I, instead of taking a chance on being shut it donkey or slapped off the chair, I'll just sit here quietly and say what she said.
When was the last time I slapped you off the chair? I will say that I have told you to shut it, donkey. I mean, there has been times when it's like, what you say.
Sometimes my tinfoil hat gets me in trouble.
I'm telling you. Did you see though that you have convinced Yehuda Reamer, tag name the Pew Pew Jew, that he now has a tinfoil yarmulke? So
you'll find that in time that I'm more right than wrong.
I just can't
it's
believe. It's
downright disturbing when it comes right down to it.
I can't believe that you got him to go for the tinfoil yarmulke. That is pretty funny. What I was talking to a friend here, and so I was talking to a friend here, and he was like, "You know Yehuda Reamer? You know the Pew Pew Jew?" And I was like, "Yes." He's like, "Invite him to come to Ohio. We need him in Ohio." And I was like, Yehuda, you've got a fan club here in the sleeper state, right?
The guy that runs my local gun shop, he's a huge Jew
fan too. Oh, there you go. I love Yehuda.
They watch all this stuff on the TikTok and YouTube and all that.
I like his T-shirts. I like his sense of humor. I mean, and I'm the proud owner of one of his Woodstock T-shirts that kind of look. It's got all these flowers and all this cool stuff, and then it's got a wooden stock into it. So my liberal friends are like, "Cool oh, yeah," and then they stop, but they start thinking that maybe I'd flip to being a flower child, and then they're like, "That." Wait, I gotta check my resources. That can't happen. That's not really who you are.
She's gone out of her mind.
She's gone out of her mind. So I had told the listening audience that once I got the gun that I was thinking about getting, that I would tell y'all what it was.
That way they couldn't go buy them all ahead of time, and then you wouldn't be able
There'd be a run on them. I had to get mine first. I had to get mine first.
Yeah,
and
it's nothing like when you say I want one of these and then find out that there's not any to be had.
Ask Clint Eastwood, right? Dirty Harry just pretty much took the.
Right, he had to use a 41 for the second movie because there wasn't no 44s available.
Right, the most powerful handgun in the world, and he's like, "Whoops, runner up."
Funny. that the Smith & Wesson at that time cost $181 list price, and those 29s were selling for over $1,000 at that time. That's a pretty good markup.
Everybody needed to have one, and so there's that economy thing. So I bought, because I handled this at SHOT Show, and I bought the FN 509 LS, which stands for Long Slide Edge, and it has the light collecting scintillation front sight. I didn't go for optics. I just went for regular. What do they call it?
I thought the LS was like when you buy like a fancy car, and it's the LS version that has the extra chrome and
the Lux
and the heated seats.
No, Long Slide.
You didn't get the heated grip in there?
No, I was looking for a full-size gun, so when I go take another shooting class and Robin Sandoval is there with me, my gun is not half-size.
You know, it's funny. That's the reason I bought my FNS, was I needed a big gun because
Robin outshot you too?
No, I keep shooting the little ones apart. So
okay.
So I was looking for something more of a duty gun that would hold up longer than a couple of summers. And so I was playing with it out at a gun shop. It was a used one, and somebody had painted like pearlescent blue, and I walked out, and then I thought I was going to buy it, and I went back the next day, and it was gone. So I had to go online and order one somewhere. But
then you had to buy a new one.
Yeah, because it's like I was just going to take that pearlescent blue one, because that doesn't matter what color it is to me. I just wanted a
luxury edition. So it's LS, not LE.
Maybe it's luxury sport model.
Maybe it's a luxury sport, but it's pretty cool. I have not taken it to the range yet. It will go. I'm going to take it. We're going to go to the Rod of Iron Freedom Festival, and they have a range there, and you get to shoot and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to go make its maiden voyage there.
Some of that, is that a political statement where you're going to Pennsylvania with an anti-gun to shoot your gun for the first time?
I don't know. Political statement, but yeah, something. But anyhow, it's beautiful. It is beautiful.
I gotta say, it does feel really nice in your hand. It's got a flat trigger. The big thing I had seen is it has a set of sight wings on the side, like to keep it from being banged up, kind of like an old Enfield.
Right.
I didn't know if that would in the long run be distractive or not.
We'll find out. But we'll find out. At this point, I'm saying no. Sure, it'll be fine.
I guess if nothing else, it's got the top plate. We'll just take it off, put some optics on there to take your eye off of those pesky sights.
I'm kind of on a roll right now. I think I'm going to buy an HK with optics. Shelley Hill has told me what I need to buy, and so I have been like 4 years on a moratorium for large 9mm, and
Well, you gotta get them while you can, because I see.
It was like the Rona did something. I don't know, but I am going for a couple full-size guns.
President Biden has publicly stated that the 9mm was public enemy number one, along with some automatic rifles.
Okay, so, there you go.
If he wins the second term, I think that you're going to be in. That's the end of the 9mm train.
If he wins the second term, he's got one foot in the banana pudding.
Stranger things have happened.
Even if he wins, he's not going to be around because he
doesn't remember that he said he hated the 9mm.
Maybe not. It'll be his new pet. He'll name his dog that or something. I don't know. I don't know. So, I want to talk to you about this YouTube dude, and this I'm probably going to have to go completely into the next segment because I don't think I can get through this in this segment. So should I pause and wait? Should I let you talk to me about?
Well, we could tell Biden has launched a new federal office on gun violence prevention, and
that one's going to be another story.
He's put Kamala Harris in charge of it, and if you look at it, it was probably a wise choice on his part, because her time in California as an attorney general, she had a lot of I don't know, on-the-job experience with that.
Putting everybody in jail for guns.
So she already understands how that works, so maybe she'll get some work out of her finally.
I don't know, but
make her earn her paycheck.
So there is the Federal Office of Gun Violence Prevention. So because my gun isn't violent, but okay, there's that whole thing. But the next piece of it is that this office is in the White House, and they have the red-shirted demanding mommies right there on campus. And
maybe that saves them on what do they call it, staffing the office. So they don't have to have interns and.
Well, they don't have to think, right? Because Gabby Giffords is going to tell them how to think. The Bloomberg's going to tell them how to think. So they'll just be like, okay, sure, boss. What do you want me to do, boss? What, is that Pinky in the brain? Okay, brain, you tell us what. We're doing it. And, I just think that this gun violence prevention office is bad juju for the American public. And we're back to this thing where didn't he swear to uphold the Constitution? And nowhere in the Constitution is there anything about this. And your gun is not violent. Back to that. We're saying
so many
it's
things
people. So let's talk about, where is your Office of Criminal Reform? Where is your Office of Bad Guys Go to Jail? Right?
That doesn't happen in modern America.
They've got the Office of Never Mind.
We cater to the criminal and to the illegal alien, and it's the law-abiding that are the ones that are willing to go to jail for what their cause is. So we'll put them in jail.
Well, they did, and they did, and they're doing it, and there are more of them, and all of this. I mean, you're sitting there, you're seeing more and more January 6ers go into jail. I mean, how many years afterwards? And yet, this yahoo gets to pull the fire alarm, and nobody's doing anything, and he actually stops a vote in the House. That's the definition of insurrection, right? It really is. So we'll be back right after this. 6 says that Feinstein claimed that she was an expert on guns because she'd seen thousands of pictures of them. And then he went on to say that may make him a gynecologist because pictures, We'll just move on from that.
And host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Sefcool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Are you interested in firearms? Are you looking for a resource to help you understand guns? Trying to help someone who's new to the world of shooting? Hi, I'm John Petrolino, 2A writer and the author of Decoding Firearms, an easy-to-read guide on general gun safety and use. Decoding Firearms is a comprehensive book with 266 pages of information. Want to learn more? Visit thepenpatriot.com or get yours today on Amazon in paperback or Kindle.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Time we got. 1:13.
Hey, you missed it. Look at that. I left Rob in charge of the in charge of the keyboard, and I walked away for a second, and the show starts, and he's like, "What?"
Clueless.
We're back to the whole conversation of clueless. There we go. So,
at least I wasn't picking my nose or something on the TV, so.
at least you're not. Jeez Louise.
See, I'm somewhat civilized.
No, yeah. Hey, folks, do you feel bad for me? You ought to feel bad for me. We'll just go right there. Feel bad for me. So, there. That's my lesson for walking away.
Going back to some of this with Biden and his office in the White House. I mean, there's so many things that's starting to come out about that he's weaponized the FBI and the ATF and the IRS against guns, and then they're trying to do away with that PLCAA,
Protection and Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, the PLCAA.
Right. So they're saying, and it's kind of funny because the guns are regulated on a what do they call it? An interstate commerce basis. It's because they cross state lines is where the government says they can stick their nose into the business.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how that works, and if the Supreme Court looked at it, would Bruin straighten that out too?
I don't know. I mean, there is some of that, but it's like some people are like, let's figure out where people are coming from and what they're trying to do, and where their standpoint is, and you're looking at it going, I try really hard to put myself in their position to try to get where they're coming from, even if I don't agree with it, so to at least understand where they're coming from. And I don't understand the whole, you don't have the right to defend yourself with a firearm because we're going to take all guns away. And I don't understand how my gas stove is now a threat, in addition to my gas furnace.
Yeah, he just announced the gas furnace was a menace to society too. What it is I don't know if you've ever seen any of that Agenda 2030 stuff. I mean, if you put your tinfoil hat on, it'll like fry your brains when you read some of their stuff. But anyhow, he's hoping to remove 52% of the carbon footprint by this 2030 deadline.
52% of the carbon footprint in the United States. But the problem is when you look
China,
at us,
India, Pakistan, all
look at us against
more than
even.
we do.
Yeah, so even though we say, we are the most industrial nation or industrial country in the world, industrialized, I guess, we still are, our emission footprint is that percentage is way smaller, and so it's not going to do.
Everybody says plant a tree; it would do more good than
what they're
your woods
than what they're trying to do. Yeah, I'm not jettisoning my gas stove either. So I'm there on so there's so much stuff. I just cannot
Okay, so
maybe
you were
this
gonna
is
tell us
good.
about
I
the-
cannot put myself in that position.
You're
So.
going to tell us about the YouTuber thing that you.
Okay, so here was the YouTuber. They're now calling him a prankster. There would be words that I would call him.
A-hole back.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. So his whole thing was that he went in front of a food delivery driver. So here's a guy trying to do his job, and he's got his camera and he's got it in his face, and he's giving this guy grief. And so there was a group of 20-somethings led by a prankster, Tanner Cook, for Classified Goons, their YouTube channel. Not to give them credit, but their YouTube channel. And he took out his phone and he stuck it inches from Mr. Cawley's face, and he started to, and it started to play something, but he was in this guy's face, and the guy was like, okay, get away from me. And then the guy pivoted to go someplace else. They cornered him, so they've got him in a semicircle of people, and he's trying to turn away, and he's trying to turn away, and he's trying to turn away, and they're in his face, and they're in his space, and they're crowding him, and he keeps backing up. He keeps giving them warnings. He keeps trying to get them out. And oh, by the way, they're filming this, so there is videotape of this guy trying to get away.
Right, so he had three different attempts to try to get away, to push the camera away, and to try to escape from there.
Just to escape.
And they would block his path and keep coming at him.
So he pulled out his gun and he fired a shot, and it just happened to be into Mr. Cook.
On the fourth.
Right?
On the fourth
attempt,
they shoved the phone in his
everything
face
in his
were
face,
playing
right?
This video, or they were playing this saying. I don't know what.
I don't even know what the saying is. So
but it's funny when you read it. It tells you some of the articles of what he has been accused of previously, and one was he was telling some woman that somebody was following them, and then he paid someone to stalk her and follow her around the parking lot. I mean, that's his idea of fun.
Right. And so then he's filming her being petrified because he told her she had a stalker, and then he hired her stalker to have a stalker. In another incident, he pretended
to... It's kind of surprising that more people don't get shot like that.
Exactly. So the interesting part is that they found the defendant not guilty, because he was charged with aggravated malicious wounding and the use of a firearm in the commission of a felony. But then he was found not guilty for that because...
It seems funny, aggravated malicious wounding.
Wounded. I was just... I mean, there's a spot where get out of my face, get out of my space, and there's that. I don't understand how he wasn't charged for the stalking, and the enabling a stalker.
So, but anyhow, he's back to his old thing. So they said Cook is still making his YouTube prank videos and has no plans to stop. The other guy is in prison.
Well, he's out now. It
says in here that they're holding him in custody until the judge has decided whether they charged him with shooting a gun inside of a building, which is a 6th-degree felony.
So this is an additional, because they found him. He was not. Yeah. So he was not found. He was found not guilty. So now they're piling on more stuff. I don't know. It's just. Paul counted 2. This is just a crock of cheese, on so many levels. We'll be back.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Are you interested in firearms? Are you looking for a resource to help you understand guns? Trying to help someone who's new to the world of shooting? Hi, I'm John Petrolino, 2A writer and the author of Decoding Firearms, an easy-to-read guide on general gun safety and use. Decoding Firearms is a comprehensive book with 266 pages of information. Want to learn more? Visit thepenpatriot.com or get yours today on Amazon in paperback or Kindle.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3 and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Writing Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Writing Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Well, I have a story that I think is amazingly interesting. There is, the sad part is this gal is in Illinois, and she is she's on the school board, board of education. So the East Aurora School District Board of Education, and she was fired because as part of her campaign, and the fundraising associated with campaigning, and she was campaigning for the regional school superintendent, and she posted on her Facebook account that her campaign had a raffle, and so she was raffling off a firearm. And because she was raffling off a firearm, they fired her from her job on the Board of Education because they said that, well, they didn't have to say anything. It was guns, guns, and guns are bad. So instead of her just quietly taking it, she hired an attorney and alleged that it was her First Amendment right to exercise her Second Amendment right, and that was part of her campaign, and that they can't stop her, nanner, right? So it's just pretty interesting. We're going to be watching this because this just came out. It is Illinois. So the school board claimed in their legal filings that the post about the gun raffle could hinder the effectiveness of the school district's ability to provide an educational environment without disruption.
Yeah, right.
Right? So anyhow, it's going to court. The judge is allowing it to go to court.
The funny part is in that give the people what they want. People want to buy a raffle ticket to win a gun. They don't want to buy a raffle ticket to win a flower pot or a candle.
The only things that seem to do real well is a wheelbarrow full of booze and a gun. So I'm just going to say, pay attention, America.
A wheelbarrow full of guns would be good too, or ammo.
Right. I mean, and the thing is even for a non-drinker, when they do those wheelbarrows full of booze, it's like, all I could see is, look at that. I got a wheelbarrow full of gifts that I could give to my drunk friends.
Oh, I figured maybe you just taking up a new hobby then.
No. But sometimes I'm going down that path. But I just can't believe. I mean, they have made guns. So it is just public enemy number one in every opportunity that they can. You say the word gun, you show a gun.
Sway the public if they do not make an enemy. So you have to have something to focus on. You've seen these team builder exercises where they pick out the one guy to pick on, and then everybody else is all on their team to pick against him, right?
Right, there really is that.
Bullying is a popular sport.
It's a management tool, I swear. I swear. And this is sort of that. You know, I don't know.
The big thing that they're noticing, though, I mean, if you look at it, Biden's not getting it, but the House and the Senate are realizing that guns are not the answer. That they're going to cause them more heartburn than get them votes in the.
They need to stay. They need to stay out of that conversation.
They need to move back to the center and try to ignore that word, that four-letter word, guns.
Because people feel very strongly about it one way or another. And so it's sort of like Michael Jordan said that he didn't want to get involved in politics because both Republicans and Democrats had feet and he sold shoes. So he's like, you know, I'm why would I alienate 50% of my customer base?
It's a good way to look at things. I mean, it's, somewhere along the line, you're going to step on somebody's toes and they're not going to fit in your shoe no more.
Right. And they're going to be like, I'm not wearing this. I'm not paying extra for this because he's no longer my hero. Whatever that is. So there you go. Okay, so what do you have in stories?
I have one about a die-in. Have you seen one of those lately? That was something that was popular back in the 70s.
I think it was in the 70s. It's been a long time since somebody staged one of those where they all just sat and clipped.
Washington Park in Dubuque, Iowa. It's got a lot of words I can't say.
Dubuque. So you can't say. So I don't even know what the back story is on Dubuque and how they got that name and thought that was a great name. It's got to
be when the French still owned it or something.
It has to be, but okay. So they're doing a public demonstration at Washington Park, and they are for the Dubuque Coalition of Nonviolence is hosting the event, calling it a die-in, and highlighting the dangers that gun violence presents.
But
so
the thing is, they're linking it. They say it's as much of a public health issue as dying for your lack of seat belts or your or with tobacco. But the thing that they don't look into is that both lack of seat belts and tobacco involve personal choice, versus gun violence sometimes is it's one-on-one, and you didn't have that choice.
Right.
So guns are used to kill by people who are seeking to kill someone else. So that's the thing, is it's a tool against the other. Where if you want to smoke or you want to drive without a seatbelt, that maybe they should just charge you a little extra on your car insurance when they have to clean the mess up. But otherwise,
it's your choice.
It's a free country, man.
There is that.
That's the thing. This
so Senate Minority...
I can't say her name either. So.
Yeah, so Senate Minority Leader... So the Senate Minority Leader, Pam Jochum, So she says that it highlights the importance of gun control. I'm going to say that she is the minority leader because Iowa is a pro-constitutional state. She's the minority for a reason.
I didn't understand that yokum because I'm used to the Al Cap version of yokums with the little Abner that they use a Y instead of a J.
But yeah, that's where I would put that. So yeah. So they're saying that they want to bring awareness to the issue because the battle for gun control in Iowa is one they are losing, and rightly so.
Across the country, that's happening, and it's brewing. That's doing it.
Right. Right, and that's really the line in the statement.
Nanner brewing on
again. So, well, and we've been talking. We need some kind of criminal reform, way more than we need.
That one story we was reading, they had a 6th-degree felony. I mean, how many do they need? Do you think that you got a misdemeanor? And if it wasn't the misdemeanor, then you need it's a felony, and there shouldn't be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It should be it's on or it's off. And
maybe there's 2 felonies. Maybe there is crimes of violence felonies and crimes
and we kill you back.
Okay, but the other one is I took all your money and I left you homeless in the street felony.
And the other is that we kill you back first.
Maybe felony. So 2. I could go for 2 felonies, right? Crimes of violence and non-crimes of violence, that kind of thing. But you take all my money and I'll be the violent one. That's how that works because, right now I have
goes to that mental health and socioeconomic.
I have a gun budget, and if you impact that, things are going to go badly for you. Right. So there's that. So Tucson, on the other hand, has a crime problem. My guess would be it's a gang problem, but that's just my guess. The headline is that they have a very real problem with young kids with guns. They have a 12-year-old that showed up at an event, at a robbery. Well, they created the event.
Is that a school function now?
Right. They created the event. They created the robbery. They were that. And so they brought a gun to a gunfight, and the 12-year-old did, and pointed it at 2 men who also had a gun. And so now all 3 of them had a gun. And then somebody pulled the trigger, and then everybody pulled the trigger, and the 12-year-old did not survive the encounter. The 54-year-old man is in critical condition, and the 3rd man was not hit. But so they're saying that they have a youth with gun problem. Do you have a gang problem? That's kind of where
the typical 12-year-old doesn't really go out menacing the crowd with a gun.
No.
No,
they're like, Mom, I need allowance.
But there's got to be a driving force behind that, and I would think that it's got to be the gangs.
Yeah, that's my official statement as to how that all is going there.
We had gang problems in the 30s, and they kind of dealt with that using these RICO laws that they're focusing on Donald Trump now.
Right.
Maybe they should refocus those on some of these gangs and see what they can do about their.
Well, and I think that I honestly believe that they should. So the author of this story is saying, well, how do the parents not know that their kid has a gun? And I'm like, well, there's a whole lot of how do you not know your kids in a gang, and how do you not know your kids at home, and how do you know your
You quit school in the 6th grade or smoking 2 packs of cigarettes, 2 cartons of cigarettes a week.
Right, and that extra car that showed up in the driveway that you didn't pay a car payment on is probably with the screwdriver.
Your 12-year-old driving a nicer car than you.
We're just saying that there may be some clues in here somewhere. I mean, it really is a real problem of young kids with guns. It's really young kids that don't respect their own lives, so they don't respect your life. it really is that we've got to address, we've got to nip this in the bud early and shut that down, because these kids will never get to grow up to be adults. That's the sad and sorry state of affairs, and that's really the point that we need to take action to.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Annastasia Theodoropoulos and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Okay, so we want to tell you a little bit, if you are in the Pennsylvania area, or you're in the Ohio area, or Massachusetts area, or someplace else, we are going to be at the Rod of Iron Freedom Festival, October 7th and 8th. And we want to invite you all to be there. And so, Rob, tell them a little bit about your thoughts on the Rod of Iron Freedom Festival?
It's actually it's been going on for a couple of years now. We've been there for, I don't know exactly. We've been there for 5 or 4.
I think we've been there. I think we found out about it the very first year, and so we've been there since the beginning.
But yeah, but it's at the Tommy Gun Warehouse, and they put on a pretty good sized show. They have a huge tent with lots of speakers. Sebastian Gorka was there last year.
And he's coming back this year.
They have some bands that play. They have a shooting range in the back where you can rent some guns and shoot, or you can bring your own guns and shoot. They have they had a whole bunch of skydivers last year. There must have been about 20 of them jumped out of the plane with smoke bombs tied to their shoes or something.
Well, they're doing. They have the singer Dave Bray, and he puts on an amazing show. So Dave Bray's going to be back again, and so Sebastian Gorka is coming back, and this time I intend to spend some more time with him because I missed part of it last year.
They have 5 or 6 outward tents also that they're running different things in. So a lot of YouTubers and podcasters are in there giving little demonstrations on how they do it, and you can too.
I'm telling you, it really is a very enjoyable 2 days. So I know that Charlie Cook is going to be there. He's coming in from Massachusetts. I'm not sure.
It's kind of like a carnival atmosphere with a lot of informative things going on. So you can be in the tents listening, or you can go walking the midway and hear what's going on
and talking to the.
Well, we were talking to some people last year that had some Class 3 stuff there.
Oh, yeah. He brought, 10 machine guns that he had spread out on the table to look at?
It was very interesting, and some of the different things he had to say and stuff. So there's always something to learn from different people when you get to talking to someone from across the country.
Well, in the past they've had CNJFO, who is a friend of our show. So the Coalition for New Jersey Firearms Ownership is in the house. There is the NRA, and they come in to talk to you. So I'm trying to think of who all. It is just the stage is, well, we're doing a Conceal Carry fashion show, but the stage is always packed full of different things that are happening, and some of them are international. And so I understand this year that they have the largest registration of people that they've had ever, and they're expecting upwards of 10,000 people to show up to the event.
We've talked to some of the other media people there that came from France and different places, and it was interesting hearing their side of what's going on compared to what you hear out of the news.
Right, it is good. I know Alan Gottlieb is going to be in the house. I really wish Annastasia was on the call, because there was so much stuff that she was telling me that was different this year that is going to be bigger. But it is located at the Tommy Guns Warehouse. They set up a giant tent in the back and start there, but then they fill up the whole back area.
Right, there seems to be plenty of parking, so if you want to come out.
So it is in Greeley, Pennsylvania, so the Tommy Gun Warehouse. But it is really, they're also saying that they're going to have a tri-state, pro-America, pro-Constitution convoy. I wonder if they're going to be singing. We're just about ready to have ourselves a convoy. And we've been there 4 years. This will be our 5th. I have never been to their outdoor range because there's so much stuff going on that I've never walked away far enough to do that. But you can go to the Rod of Iron, their website, Rod of Iron, and check it out and see what's happening. But I know that they have a youth zone this year, so they're trying a little more for the kids to educate them on the First Amendment, on the Second Amendment, pieces like that. There's always such a good amount of fun, and they're just really, really good people. Their goal is to make it the largest pro-gun festival in the country. And if they hit a number like 10,000, I kind of think they're
getting close to it.
I think they kind of made it.
It's funny because they have sometimes, depending on when you go, they have military trucks. They have old cars there. They have like tents of artwork and different things. There's a lot of things for all different people there, and
and then food.
Yep, lots of food. There's a guy that makes those wooden.
The flags?
The wooden flags.
You mean this
this
flag?
And then some of the ways that they do it, I mean, it has like stainless steel in it, or it has he shocks it, burns like a lightning bolt in it and stuff. So it makes there's a lot of things for different people. So come early and you get the best choice of those. Otherwise, they haul them all out, and all you get is the.
Right, I was like, I'll take the big one, and then it was like, how am I going to get that in the car? I mean, we definitely had it as big, and it's been pretty amazing, and it's pretty big. So okay, so what is the next gun that you are thinking about in your gun purchasing?
Actually,
for?
I don't really need another gun. I'm wanting a thermal scope, and they're so proud of them that
pricey.
It's almost like buying a car, but they're making so many gains in the technology that
you're going to try to wait it out. Is that what you're doing?
If you buy today, in 6 months, the something better comes along, and all of a sudden, now you get an extra 4 hours of battery life, or you get 2 more power of magnification and stuff.
Well, you make fun of me because I sit there kind of like I'm playing jump rope, and I'm waiting to jump in, and then finally I jump, and you're like, oh yeah, you're just going.
You're looking at a $700 thing instead of a $4,200 thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I said, they're proud of those scopes. So
$4,200. What I want to know.
And the batteries are good for about 2 hours. So
thermal imaging. What are you going to? Are you going to just sit in the yard and watch like gophers move around?
You can see as good in the dark as you can in the light. I mean, I know people that use them for looking at their house to see where the
where the heat's leaking out.
The heat's leaking out. I know that other people that use them just for watching what kind of wild critters are walking around the backyard. And but it's they have this infrared technology, the IR they call it, and you can get that much cheaper, but it uses a flashlight.
I want the heat-seeking one. Is that the thermal imaging one, or is neither one of those?
Well, the thermal
is the heat. Okay.
Blah blah blah. Where the infrared is, you have to use this flashlight to shine the infrared light out there, and then the scope collects that infrared light.
No, I want the one where you are looking in the tall grass, and then you can see the fat little gopher sitting in there.
But because the heat signature shows up as black versus white or something. But I mean, if you're at the gun show, next time you're at like NRA and that, look up into the ceiling where when you look up with your normal eyesight, everything is just completely black. You can't see up in there. When you look up there, you can see the pipes, you can see the electrical, you can see everything in different contrast because it sees past this glare.
So I need to. You're saying because I have been looking at like the glittery guns. I'm like, ooh, pretty, and you're like, oh, I'm looking at technology. So we're looking. It's really funny. We go to the same show and we come back saying, I saw this, and I'm like, I didn't see that. And he saw something completely different than I saw. So it's actually good when there's like 2 of us that go because you see completely different things. Absolutely completely different things. But thermal imaging, that's not a wheelhouse, but we'll see. So we'll catch you next week, folks. Catch you next week.
Okay,
6 says that Feinstein claimed that she was an expert on guns because she'd seen thousands of pictures of them. And then he went on to say that may make him a gynecologist because pictures, we'll just